Hello from Computer Science, WhatsApp, and how are things on your side? This is me, Saidalia here from Computer Science for Self-Taught. And in this video, I will talk about intents in general and the types of intents that we will use in the Android, okay? So actually, we will also discuss about two types of intents, which are explicit and implicit intents. As we move through, I'll promise that I will cover each of them in detail. So let's see what we have. So we will have a recap about the intents. If you're beginner to Android, you know what are intents and how to use them. If you jump suddenly to this video, it doesn't matter, I'll recap the intents and then we will talk about the implicit intents, and after that we will talk about sending implicit intents. I mean sending something from your application to other applications, and we will talk about the receiving implicit intents theoretically in this video, and in the next video we'll talk about explicit intents and implicit intents in general. Well, an intent is nothing but it is a description of an operation to be performed. We can also say that an intent is a messaging object which is used to request an action from another app component, okay, via the Android system. Imagine that this is your app. By using the intent, you tell the Android system, okay, I want to start other apps component. So the Android will get your intent and it will check which details you have passed by using the intent, and based on the details that you have passed alongside the intent, it will launch the other app component. Well, what can an intent do? An intent can be used in two different ways. It can be used to start an activity within your app, or it can be used to start a service, or it can be used to deliver a broadcast. And you cannot use intents for content providers because content providers are dealing with data. And in the next lesson we will talk about the services and broadcasts, what are they and how we can deal with them by using intent. Well, there are two different types of intents. One is explicit intents and another one is implicit intents. Well, explicit intents are used to start an activity of a specific class inside your app. I mean, if you want to start another activity inside your app, you can use the explicit intents to start those activities. And we use implicit intents. We ask the system to find an activity with a registered handler that can handle this request. Well, basically, explicit intents are used to start components inside your app, and we will use implicit intent to start other components of other apps that you have installed in your phone. Well, there are four important things that you need to bear in mind when you're dealing with intents. I mean, when you're dealing with implicit intent, there are four parts you need to remember about them. The first one is action. Define what you want to do with the intent that you have declared inside your app. For example, you want to send an email, you want to view a location on a map, or dial a number. And the next thing is the data, the type of data that you want to send alongside the intent. You want to pass a phone number or send a message. And the next one is category. You add category to your intent that handle those apps that can share the same characteristics. Example as launcher. And extras are additional information that you pass alongside your intents, which are key value pairs, and they are stored inside a bundle object, okay? For example, like title of an image if you want to pass extra information, and subject of an email. So implicit intent allows you to start an activity in another app by describing an action you need to perform, such as share an article, view a map, or take a picture. Well, as you know that if you want to start other apps from your app, so you can use implicit intents for doing so. For example, you have created an app and you want to open Facebook within your application. So you can use the implicit intents to do that. And when you are dealing with implicit intents, you must specify action, and you also need to provide extra data to tell your Android systems which action you want to perform. So by using the implicit intents, you do not specify the target activity, you just specify your action, and then the Android is given an action, and it's going to match every app inside your Android system to check which app is able to handle this request. And this process is known as intent resolution. And if there are multiple matches found inside your Android phone, then a chooser will appear and let the user to decide which app he wants to open it. So this is an example of creating implicit intents. First, you need to create an object of intent, and then you need to set the action of your intent, For example, I want to call a number. So the action can be action call. And you can set that by using the set action. Although you can also set the action inside the constructor of intent class. And after that you must set the data. Of course the data is in the form of URI. And you must pass your data by using the URI object. Because set data only accepts URI data from you. And then you start that activity. And the Android is going to search through your phone which app is able to handle the action call with this data. If one app appears, it automatically opens that app for you without asking you. If there are multiple matches found, so it will show them through a dialog to the user which app he wants to open it. As I've told you before, if multiple activities that can handle your implicit intents, so an app chooser will appear like this and allows the user by which app you want to open the intended action. So the process of searching which app is able to handle your request is known as intent resolution. So when the Android is given an intent, so it has to figure out which activity or activities are able to handle it. And this process is known as intent resolution. So for sending an implicit intent, you need to create an intent, okay, alongside the action. And in the constructor, you set the action what you want to do. For example, if you want to call someone, you must pass the action call. And if you want to send a message, you pass the action send. And we will talk about them as we go through. So if you have created a button on your activity to call someone, when the user presses that button, so it's going to tell the Android which app is able to handle my request, and the activity that can handle the call request will appear to you. But before starting the activity, you must check if there is an app inside the Android phone that can handle your request or not. If no app found inside your Android, so your app may crash. But you can avoid this situation by using the resolve activity and call the get package manager inside the resolve activity. So if you don't want your app gets closed or crashed, you can call the resolve activity and pass the get package manager object with it. And you must check that if the resolve activity has found an app that can handle your request, so you can start the activity. If the resolve activity returns null, it means that no app was found inside your Android that can handle the request. So you can avoid exceptions and crashes by using such kind of method. Because before starting the implicit intents, you must use the package manager to check that if there is a package with an activity that matches the given criteria. So let's see how we can deal with action dial. First, create an intent object and inside the constructor set the action that you want to do. If you want to call, so there are several actions inside the Android that you can use that. If you want to call, so there is an action called as action dial. If you want to send a message, so you can set the action send. If you want to view something, you can also call the action view. And after you have set your action, then specify the data you want to deal with. As you see, my action is to dial a number. So we must pass the data by using the set data method, and it requires a URI data. And we call the URI parse method, and inside these braces I provide my data. And this thing you can see in here as the tail, it is a data scheme. It specifies which type of data you're passing. And based on this data scheme, the Android will open the app that can handle the action dial. And if you don't provide this, your app will crash. This is known as data scheme. And after that, you can start the activity. You can also check that if the activity is available inside your Android or not. You can provide the data by using the URI. If you want to call someone, pass the data by using the URI.parse and specify the data scheme and colon and the phone number. And if you want to show something, I mean the coordinates of someone on your phone on the Google map, so you can use the GEO data scheme and first provide the latitude and then the longitude of the. And if you want to open a website, to pass the data scheme as http:// and the name of that website. If you want to know more about the URI, make sure that you read the URI documentation, okay? So let's see about the implicit intent examples. If you want to show a web page in your app, so you can use the data scheme http:// and then specify your destination. I mean, if you want to open a website, put the address in here. And after that, you're viewing something. After that, you must set the action of your intent and pass the URI. and you can start the activity. And if you want to dial a phone number, to use the URI and specify the data scheme. It is really important that you specify the data scheme, otherwise your app will crash, and pass the data that you want to deal with. And after that, based on your data, you must specify the action. Okay, so in here I'm gonna call someone, I use the action dial, and after that I put my URI, and then I start the activity. So let's see how we can use the intent with extras. So if you want to create an intent for an action of searching something on the web, create an intent object and specify the action as action web search, and put the extra information alongside the intent by using the intent object called the put extra method, and in here specify the key because it works with key value pair. Don't specify the key in here, okay? Specify the built-in Android key. If you want to search something, so specify the search manager, use the search manager class and pass the query, and in here you pass your data that you have created in here, and then start the activity and make sure that you check that if there is an app to handle your request or not. So you can use the category to add additional information about the kind of component that can handle your intent. You can add a category of openable, browsable, and many more. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel, which really motivate me to make such useful content for you. And don't forget to check out my other videos, which can be really helpful for you. So, and this is all about the theoretical aspects of implicit intents and explicit intents. There are still a lot of things I haven't discussed about, but I believe that as I go ahead, I'll talk about each of these things in details. In the next video, I'm going to jump to Android Studio, and we will work out a nice example on explicit intents and implicit intents. Have fun learning. Peace out.